Imagine a ship hailed as unsinkable, a marvel of engineering, vanishing into the icy blackness of the Atlantic and not being found for over 7 decades. Families waited, scientists searched, the world wondered. How could something so massive disappear without a trace? This is the story not just of a disaster, but of a mystery that endured for 73 years, until a determined team and a bold idea changed everything. On the night of April 14, 1912, the RMS Titanic struck an iceberg and sank into the North Atlantic, taking over 1,500 souls with her. It was one of the deadliest maritime disasters in history. And yet, despite international obsession, tireless searching, and a century of technological advancements, no one found the wreck until 1985. Why? What made the Titanic so difficult to locate? This story is a journey across decades, through false leads, scientific breakthroughs, and emotional perseverance. The Titanic was the largest and most luxurious passenger liner of its time. On its maiden voyage from Southampton to New York, it carried over 2,200 passengers and crew. When it struck an iceberg just before midnight, chaos unfolded. Within 2 hours and 40 minutes, the ship split and plunged to the bottom of the ocean. Hundreds of lives were lost, and the exact location of the sinking remained uncertain. Although survivors and wireless signals gave some indication of where the Titanic went down, those early coordinates turned out to be misleading. The North Atlantic is vast, deep, and unpredictable, making any recovery or identification effort extremely difficult with the technology of the early 20th century. Challenges in finding Titanic. There are 3 key reasons it took 73 years to find Titanic: technology, geography, and misinformation. Number 1. Technology. In 1912, sonar, GPS, and deep-sea submersibles didn't exist. Even decades later, most underwater exploration was limited to shallow regions. The Titanic wreck lay over 12,500 feet, approximately 3,800 meters below the surface, far beyond the reach of early divers and equipment. Number 2. Geography. The North Atlantic Ocean is unforgiving. The area where Titanic sank is characterized by strong currents, freezing temperatures, and depths that crush most man-made objects. Searching that area was like trying to find a needle in a haystack, blindfolded. Number 3. Misinformation. Early distress signals from the Titanic were inaccurate. These errors led searchers in the wrong direction. For decades, expeditions scanned areas miles away from the actual wreck site. Even survivors' testimonies had inconsistencies, further clouding the mystery. Early search efforts and failures. Shortly after the disaster, ships were dispatched to recover bodies and debris. But no attempts were made to locate the wreck itself, partly due to technological limitations, and partly out of respect for the site as a maritime grave. In the decades that followed, many tried. In 1953, oceanographer Maurice Ewing led expeditions using echo sounding. In the 1970s, Jack Grimm, a Texas oilman and adventurer, funded searches using sonar and magnetometers. Despite media buzz, none were successful. These early efforts captured public attention but yielded only disappointment. Still, each attempt refined techniques, gathered data, and helped pave the way for future missions. Breakthrough technologies and shifting strategy. By the 1980s, technology had finally caught up with ambition. The Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution and French Research Institute for the Exploitation of the CIFREMER began developing robotic underwater vehicles equipped with cameras and sonar. But the biggest shift wasn't technological, it was strategic. Instead of looking for the ship itself, scientists theorized that the Titanic would have left a debris field, fragments scattered across the ocean floor. It was like tracking a trail of breadcrumbs rather than hoping to stumble upon a cathedral in the dark. The Discovery Mission. Robert Ballard's Expedition 1985. In 1985, American oceanographer Dr. Robert Ballard launched an expedition that would change maritime history. Secretly funded in part by the U.S. Navy, his mission had a dual purpose: to explore Titanic's possible location, and to locate 2 lost U.S. submarines, Thresher and Scorpion. Using a remotely operated camera system named Argo, Ballard and his team scanned the ocean floor. On September 1, 1985, they spotted a boiler, then pieces of the hull, and finally the broken halves of Titanic herself. After 73 years of mystery, the ship had been found lying 2.5 miles deep, nearly 400 miles southeast of Newfoundland. Emotional impact and global reaction. The world was stunned. News outlets across the globe broadcast the images. Rust-covered railings, a lone chandelier, a child's shoe. These weren't just artifacts, they were echoes of lost lives. For the families of victims, it stirred grief and closure in equal measure. Titanic wasn't just a legend anymore, it was real, tangible, and heartbreakingly preserved in the cold silence of the deep. Dr. Ballard insisted the site be treated with respect as a memorial, not a treasure hunt. Still, debates erupted over artifact recovery, commercialization, and underwater tourism. Why it took 73 years? The final reasons. Let's summarize. It took 73 years to find Titanic because early technology couldn't reach those depths. Searchers were looking in the wrong place due to inaccurate data. Ocean conditions made exploration perilous. Only in the 1980s did deep-sea robotics and sonar allow precise imaging. Strategic thinking, looking for debris, not the ship, made the difference. This was a case where science, human will, and historical obsession finally aligned. Legacy of the discovery. Titanic's discovery changed everything. It spurred renewed interest in maritime archaeology. It led to deeper discussions about ocean conservation. It even impacted how we record and track ships globally today. New missions continue to study the wreck, though it's decaying rapidly due to bacteria and corrosion. Titanic is dissolving into the sea, but her legacy remains stronger than ever. For many, Titanic is more than a shipwreck. It is a symbol of human error, ambition, love, loss, and the unstoppable march of time. Closing statement. The story of Titanic isn't just about icebergs and lifeboats. It's about why we seek closure, why mysteries compel us, and why some stories refuse to fade. The wreck lay hidden for 73 years, not because no one cared, but because the ocean guards her secrets well. And when she was finally found, she reminded us that even in the darkest depths, the past waits patiently to be remembered. What did you feel when you first saw images of Titanic's wreck? Do you think it should remain untouched, or should we recover its artifacts to preserve history? Let us know in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe for more stories from the deep, because the ocean has many more secrets waiting to surface.